You can really overcome and do anything if you put your mind to it.
My name is Martina and this is Growth Through Challenge, real conversations about the human side of building something. Today I'm sitting with Angele Miller,
Hi.
one of the top 25 most influential women in Atlantic Canada. She built her first business with 20 and then created this amazing glamping resort in the middle of a pandemic. Now she has multiple businesses and franchises. Angel, welcome to Growth Through Challenge.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So you built your first business with 20, and that was in the health food store, pioneering organic eating. So what made you start that here in rural New Brunswick?
Yeah, I come from like a family business, and when I was very little, I was going around with my dad and my grandfather all the time. They would do deliveries of food to the local community, and I was so excited to just join and go with them and be a part of that. And so for me, I think it really started, when I was little, just like the passion and the drive that maybe one day I can contribute and do something amazing like they had done. They were such a big part of the community. So, I think it's been a part of a seed that got planted in me, that, eventually in life I grew up, that seed just grew bigger and bigger in me to have that passion and that drive to move it forward.
Wow. But organic is standard in Canada, but healthy food is not very standard here in the rural area. So what gave you the certainty to start to go to the healthy part?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I would say, like, for me, my background of education when I started university was a nutritionist. And that's kind of
Okay.
where I started to learn about, like healthy eating and, all of the options that there are out there. And there was not really a lot of, like, there's no health food store, especially here in my community at the
Yes.
time. And people didn't even know what organic meant. But for me, something triggered because when I was studying at university and we would learn all about like, the food groups and the meats and then
Was that here in New Brunswick?
yes, it
University?
was.
Okay.
I started at the University of Moncton, where I started my
Okay.
education, and we would learn about the nitrates and all of the MSG and the things that get added in food. And for me, in my mind, I was like, if those things are not really good for you, why are we recommending people to buy that? So that's where my curiosity started to kind of to pick up, and I started to deviate into more of the natural realm of education. So that's where I did my holistic nutritionist degree, my naturopathic degree, and I just kind of learned. And I was really determined to bring these options here, but it was very challenging because when I first started, people would come and be like, "What's organic? Gross, must not be good." And I'd be like, "It is good. It's just the full." The ingredient as how it should be, with all
Right.
the vitamins and minerals in it, and it tastes even better. But I had to do a lot of education, when I first started. But that passion of health and wellness definitely like it started at that time, I think, and it just grew and grew over the years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It still is a challenge, I find.
it is.
I'm here since 8 years, but when I came here, there was even when you buy a toast bread, it tastes so sweet.
It
I
is.
cannot eat it to lettuce or to salad because it's too sweet.
Yes. And when you look at the bread on how people used to make it a long time ago, like there was very few ingredients. It was more artisanal.
4 ingredients.
Four
I do
ingredients.
my own sourdough bread.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you see, and you can taste and see the difference. And you go in the store and you buy bread that has 20 ingredients or more, and you don't even feel like it's tasting like
Yeah.
real bread a lot of times. Yeah.
That's what fascinates me so much about you building that with 20. I mean, that's a long time ago. And also, what gave you the certainty that this will be successful and people will adapt and accept that.
Yeah, and I think when I was younger, I would not to say I take risks, like you take risks and you follow
That's
your heart,
yeah, that's right.
no matter what when you're an entrepreneur. But I still think that from when I was younger, I had a sense of like, like things would just happen and manifest itself just like that. I've learned a lot over the years, like being an entrepreneur, that it doesn't always work like that, you know. But I think that when I was young, I just didn't really think or look back, more, and it gave me a lot of really good life experiences. Like I had to do a lot of work, maybe more work than I imagined at the time because of all the education we had to do,
Yeah.
the workshop, the seminars. Like there was so many things that I had to do to kind of help pioneer that movement, which now would be much easier, because I was a little bit of ahead of my time at that time. But I think it keeps repeating itself in business, and but as long as you stay true to yourself and to your heart of what you really believe in and you're passionate about,
Hmm.
I think you will make your way and things will happen for you. Yeah.
Yes, that's really really good right there because so you're saying you just started with the first step, you just didn't think it over and over again and
No.
think it through, so you just started. And
Yeah.
then as you went along the experience and came, and then you changed the strategy maybe a little bit or not, and then
Yes.
you worked it out in the
Yes.
end. Interesting. Are you still that way, that you're just doing it?
I would say to a degree, yes.
Okay.
Like even for us, like this big expansion project at our resort, initially started with a smaller vision of what it would be. Like we would make pizza and charcuterie boards and have a tiny little cafe, and then we would just expand a little bit from our existing Nordic spa, and then we started listening to customers, and they would say, well, it'd be nice if you have a big room where we could do team building events or retreats, and do wellness retreats and corporate
Hmm.
retreats. And so then we started thinking, well, maybe we should build a bigger building, and then we started thinking, well, what about the services? So things were just built from that.
Okay.
And from 6 months, from what started at that vision, expanding into a really big vision. But it's not something that we sat there and were like, oh, well, we overanalyze and overtaught, like I believe that for me, when you're aligned and you're grounded and you feel it in your heart, you just got to trust your gut, and you got to move it forward, because sometimes we will talk ourselves outside of opportunities. We'll let the fear kick in and not have us move forward, and it's easy to do that when you're an entrepreneur, because sometimes it can be overwhelming. There's a lot coming at you all at once, and it's a lot of risks, also. And but if you really follow your heart, I find things really get in place and it moves for you. Like you'll meet the right people, you'll sign the contract, things just kind of put itself in its place.
I
Yeah.
love that. Follow your heart. So how was that when you built Creekside RNR? When you built that during the pandemic, when everything shut down all of a sudden, did you also just follow your heart, or what were your feelings, and what did you think around that time?
Yeah, and there was a lot of thought process coming through, because for us, like, we've invested a lot, and we started the project in 2019 with zoning and permitting and development of the road, because this was an entire forest before. And then we ordered the domes and designed the resort of what this would look like. And in March 2020, our domes arrived here in my community in Kokang. And it's the same week they announced COVID. And when they announced COVID, they said the tourism industry would come to a stop. You would not be allowed to travel, and people would not be traveling. And so at the time, I was like, wow, we're starting a tourism business in a time where the whole industry is coming to a stop. And people would, in this community, there's 3,000 people in my community. So people would be like, who are you going to bring from outside to come and stay in white bubble kind of cabins,
Yeah.
here in this little community? And at that time there was a lot of thought process that was going back and forth. And for me, I meditate a lot, and so I really grounded myself and I meditated, and I could, when I meditated and I grounded myself, there was no distraction of noise, outside noise, in terms
Mm.
of like what people think, or what, we could be pulled in many different directions, and when that happens, that's where fear kicks in, right? Like you start to rethink what you started. So for me, when I grounded myself and I was breathing in, I was like, you know what, I see this vision. There's no way this is not going to work for us. And I know inside my heart that by the time I open, I'm going to be full with people here. So I followed that vision and that inner feeling and inner guts I had, and we move it forward. And it wasn't easy because at the time we wanted hot tubs in every unit, and at the time there was a hot tub craze during COVID. Everybody wanted hot tubs, and you couldn't buy hot tubs anywhere. You couldn't at all. Like we would buy at Home Depot, they would cancel the order. We would buy at Costco, they cancel the order. We couldn't get hot tub. We went
you
to
probably needed a lot.
and we needed at least 5 hot tubs when we first started. And then, we went to hot tub places. We couldn't get hot tubs. Like, so, but we just kind of had it in us that we would find a solution. And we ended up actually finding a company that rents hot tubs. And we rented hot tubs until we could get our own, and then we turned it around. But we just knew what we had to do to make it work. And by the time we opened, we were full, and we never had vacancy, and we had thousands of people on a cancellation list. And it just happened that it could have not been the perfect time, because when we opened in October, people wanted to get out of their home. They had been in their homes for months, and people wanted to get out and have a different energy, different experience. Like they wanted to clear their mind, and this was the perfect place because we were in nature. You were alone in your cabin, and you were able to do that. And we started thinking about cool marketing. Why work from home when you can work from a dome? And we would like do different things, and it really triggered that it was to our benefit to open during that time. So I'm really glad that I listened to my inner voice, and also really took time to meditate and ground myself, so I could really clearly see that this was definitely something we needed to move forward.
Wow. That's so interesting because you talked a lot about not manifestation, but the inner voice, and also creating by design and abundant by design. So tell us more about that work.
Yeah, so for me, I also own a company called Abundant by Design, and it's about I believe that in life you can make it what you want it to be. Like there's many opportunities out there that come in front of us all the time, and it moves and it flows. And sometimes we really see and grasp on that opportunity, but sometimes we let it go because maybe we were not ready to take advantage of that opportunity. And so for me, Abundant by Design it's created to help brands scale across Canada and internationally. So it's really up to where they're at in their trajectory of business, and where they want to go, and what their goals are, and and we align with that. So for us, we have a team across Canada that we work with every buyers across Canada, like so from Costco, Walmart, superstore, Sobeys, health food stores, but we specialize more into the natural organic, so that health and wellness realm of the better for you products. I'm still into that field and behind the scene also there. And we help those brands scale. So we consult from branding, packaging, manufacturing, also product registration, and then so we manage about 30 brands across Canada right now, our team, and we just and it's something that I love to do, and it's my first business. That's the first business that aside from the health food store, like the first business I grew kind of nationally is the first business. And then my other business like Creekside RNR and like this resort and my beauty brand kind of came after. But the Abundant by Design, it was all about you can create any abundance you want in your life. It's by design. It's what you create. So we created that as a concept for the brands we partner with, and we help kind of scale.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how much would you say when you build a business, how much is strategy and how much is mindset, or creating in your mind first?
I would say it would have to be like both. Like I think it kind of, if you have like the mindset but you don't have the strategy, like it won't move it forward maybe as fast or good or far as you want. But if you have the strategy and you don't have the mindset, you're not also going to go far, right? Because you really have to be prepared to adapt and to grow and have that strategy and that mindset to push it forward,
Yeah.
you know? And so it's kind of, it goes hand in hand. You
Kind of
need,
like yin yang.
yeah, like the yin and you need both of them
Yeah.
to support and complement each other to move things forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When did you start working with mindset?
You know what? I started, and this is a story like people, when I share that story, they would not ever think that that would be who I was. Because if I look at me today and who I was 20 years ago, I'm not the same Angele that I was at all. And because for me, you know, it all started because I really wanted to be an entrepreneur. Okay, and I wanted to be an entrepreneur and I wanted to move things forward, but I had an extreme fear of shining my light and also being in front of people. So even when I was young and I was at school, I was always the person in the back of the class, and I would like be sick the day I would have to speak in front of the class.
Surprising! Now you're a keynote speaker on stage.
Yeah. I know, huh? Like, and then I would never lift my hand. I would like, and it would traumatize me in
You know
fear.
what? I was at the same page.
Yeah.
Like once a year, we had to present a book which we were reading, and then you have to go in front of the classroom and you have to present. And I had to learn this for a month because we were not allowed to make any mistakes. And then I was sitting there, and you were not allowed to look at the notes, and I was like grabbing this and shaking.
Yeah.
So you felt like similar?
Yeah, very similar. And for me, it was to the point where it was making me really sick. Like I just couldn't do it and it would make me sick. And what I started to realize is that I started my business and then I would be asked to train a team on one of my brand or train a distributor team. And I couldn't do it. And I would say no, and then it started to, my business would not move forward. And then I realized like it's moving forward as I'm ready and I'm moving it forward. And right now I can't even do these things. So I'm losing many opportunities in my business. So I was determined to work on myself and figure out what I need to do to overcome that fear. And I tried. So I started by listening to, you know, positive thing, reading books. And I used to go for meditation and it wouldn't help me. And you know what? It helped me to a little bit, but not enough that I felt like, because my fear was so traumatizing that I couldn't do it. One day, but I always used to put it out there and pray that, you know, I really wanted to have that strength and I wanted to surrender to my fear, you know, and I wanted to have that strength to overcome that. And one day I was flown to Arizona for a brand that I was selling across Canada, and I thought it was to learn about the product. And when I showed up there was 500 people in the room, and the owner of the company said, "We're here to learn about each one of you, not to teach you about the product." So I had to go and speak in front of 500 people, and I couldn't even do it in front of 10 at the time. So
they threw you in the cold water.
I was put right to the test.
We're not even prepared.
And then that was the moment that I had to decide, like, am I going to overcome this fear or am I going to let fear control me still? And so I left the room and I literally like I had to breathe, and I was almost dizzy because like for me it was like a severe fear. And I had like essential oils I had put on me and I was like trying to breathe, and I was like, am I taking a flight back to Canada or am I going to do this? And then I started telling myself, well, I have to do it. I don't even know how. And when you're in fear, you can't think at the time, like, what am I going to say? But I pushed myself to do it and surrender to my fear. And that whatever was meant to be was going to be, and stop trying to control the outcome of everything, and to just let it flow. But that's where it was a double lesson for me. It was a breakthrough moment because I pushed myself. I spoke in front of 500 people, and it was amazing, you know, like, and once I finished,
look at that.
People were like asking me to go speak in front of 30,000 people after, and I felt like, oh my God, like I could do it, and look at me, I survived, and it's not as bad as I think.
And you got the best feedback.
Feedback, and it made me feel like anything's possible at that time. You can really overcome and do anything if you put your mind to it. You know, and you just got to push yourself out of your comfort zone, and that's where the magic starts to happen, you know, and that's where you start the evolution of who you can or become, can or will become as an entrepreneur, because it follows you. That personal development within yourself follows you in your entrepreneur journey. So for me, when I flew back after that, and I was in the plane looking at the sky, I felt like I was on top of the world. I was like, I can't believe I did this. It feels so great. And you know what? It's not as bad as you think. And now look, what can I do now?
Yeah.
If I could do this, what can I do now? So for me, it was the awakening moment of my breakthrough where I knew that everything was possible and I would never ever let fear come in my way ever again. So every year when people would ask me, you want to come and be a keynote speaker or speak, like I did a glamping event in Texas, and there was like almost 20,000 people, and I said yes. I didn't say no. And did I feel that fear? Yeah, but I used it to fuel me. I used it to push me forward and not push me
Okay.
backward, because I don't think like if I go and speak in front of like thousands and thousands of people, I still feel a little bit of that fear, but I will not let that
Yeah.
control me, and I use it to fuel me and push me forward. And it,
So how would that look like for the listener? How do you use that fear to push you?
yeah, you know what? I always, because for me, I feel like that's where I'm going to have my breakthrough and my light is going to shine even brighter, because the fear is really connected to us shining our light. You know what I mean? Like, so if we shine our light, we are afraid. It's one of the biggest fear that we have as humans
It's the rejection.
is the
What if they
rejection.
think I'm not good enough, or
Correct.
what if I make
What are,
mistakes?
what are people going to say about
Yeah.
me? What are people going to think about me?
I would love to hear some examples about how the manifestation works for you, and how do you know that, yeah, it's working.
Yeah. Well, so for me, like because I've been doing so much meditation and inner work for many years, now I feel like I've really captured the power of manifestation, and I can think about something or have a vision about something, and then the next day or weeks after, I see it manifesting in real life. So an example of that is I went to Costa Rica for a wellness retreat in January, and before I left, I did a meditation, and through my meditation, I saw the big panther, which is a very powerful animal in the Costa Rican jungle, and I could see through his eyes, through that vision, and through my meditation, that he was showing me his power and his strength, and he was showing me also the power of transformation that I would be able to have or live through when I was in Costa
Wow.
Rica. And so with that in mind, we were leaving for our flight, and then me and my husband and my daughter got an opportunity to be upgraded to the premium seat. So we took
Ooh.
advantage of that. And then when we went to sit, it felt like really hard in the seat. And then I was like, what is there? So we pulled it up, and there was the panther toy, like
No
like a
way.
little hard plastic kind of panther toy.
Wow.
And somebody, a little kid or somebody must have forgot it there, but for me it was like, wow, this was left for me, this is a
Yes.
sign for me. He's communicating with me, and he's showing me like that the strength and the power of even what, not only what I was going to go through or live through in Costa Rica, but the power of manifestation, and really be aligned, like the things that can happen for you. So for me, it was kind of like a just a reminder, and also like a door opener to really like capture that power even more within
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Wow. I'm sure people out there would love to have so like success stories like this for themselves. And then they listen to you, and then they feel like, when can I get there? How can I get there? And like, not patient enough. What is your advice right there for them?
Yeah. So, I mean, you need to, like, patience is a thing that's not always easy. As an entrepreneur, and even in life today, we want something now. We want it today. We don't want to wait. But I also think you need to be aligned. Like you can listen to the power of law of attraction. There's many books out there, like from The Secret and type of book category, to like the mindset, and be there. But if you're not really doing the work within yourself, also it's not aligned. You can't expect to say a positive word,
Yeah.
and it's going to all magically appear for you without you doing the work. Because a lot of time, what I've noticed within myself too is I used to do that all the time. I would drive in my car and repeat the law of attraction nonstop, have those DVDs at the time playing in my car, and then I was like, why am I not living that? And I felt like I was not. But then it came to realize, these opportunities are coming to me. I'm the one that's not taking advantage of those
Okay.
opportunities, because I couldn't speak in front of people. I would refuse opportunities. I hadn't done the work within myself. So how can I expect to live these things when I'm also not aligned to do the work within myself to live and experience those things.
Right.
So this is kind of where, it's really important to be patient and also like take a step forward, in that direction that's going to do that inner work within yourself. And the more you do that inner work within yourself, you're open to receive as well. You will start to see that alignment come more into play for you.
And then when you are open to receive, you're open to see the opportunities because they're always
Correct.
there, as you say, but you often don't see it.
Yeah, it's the same
Because
thing.
we're too busy to see them.
Yeah, it's true. You know what? And I was just going to say, like, when you drive on the highway, how many times have you driven and there's a sign that was always there and you never saw that sign on the side of the road?
Right.
And then 3 years after, you notice the sign and people would be like, oh, it was there all along.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah. So I think in life it's the same thing, and these opportunities, like these opportunities come to us, they're in front of us, they're there all the time. But until you're ready to receive within yourself and you've done the work, will you see those opportunities? A lot of time you won't see them until you're ready to see them, or you put it out there, that you want to. You're ready to welcome them in your life.
And were there any challenges in your career, or did you always just move forward because you attracted that? Like, did you always move one direction, or were there some things happening which threw you back big times and you feel like, no, I don't want to go forward anymore?
Yeah.
And how did you get up then?
Yeah, there is definitely challenges. It's never always easy in business. And I think it's never always the way we envision our plan, in terms of the exact path. You may have the bigger vision, but not the exact path. And what I've learned for me along the way is to never try to control the exact way I'm going to build something or get somewhere. Okay, because that's where you'll have those challenges and difficult and a harder time to overcome those challenges. Because if you put the vision out there, but you're open on how it's meant that you're going to get there, like you start a step forward, but you're open to adapt and adjust and move in the direction you're guided to go. Because if you have a set pattern, it's like, I'm only going to get from A to B this way, you're going to have a harder time and challenges.
So don't be as stiff in your goal, just move as it comes.
Move as it comes, yeah. Because if you're too stuck on, I'm only going to do it this way, then you're missing out on something that may be way better for you and bigger. If you would have adapted, it would have been better for your business, better for you, and bigger than where you're envisioning. My vision, initially started that, but because I was open, my vision is much bigger than what I even imagined. But if I would have not been open that way, I would have probably had a smaller vision of what I've built today. Because I would have been so stuck on doing it this way only and from A to B. Okay, so for me also, now I've opened the door to receive bigger vision that are bring more purpose and bring more something even better for people.
I love that.
Yeah,
that's so powerful. Do you have, for the listeners out there, for small businesses, entrepreneurs, team leaders, do you have any more powerful advices out there?
Yeah, I would. Well, for me, the big thing is follow your heart, follow your guts. Take a step forward. Don't try to figure it all out in the beginning, and be able to be open and to adapt, along your path. And I believe if you have all these core points, you'll be an unstoppable entrepreneur.
Wow. Thank you so much for that. And thanks for being here with me and for sharing all your wisdom, Angele. We really appreciate. I could listen to you all day.
Thank you.
So thank you, Angele, to the grounded person who creates her life by design. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. I am publishing a book next month called Business by Design, Not Business as Usual.
All of my guests built something real through something hard. And that story, it belongs to you now. Take it, use it, grow through it. If this conversation moved you, share it with one person who needs it today. And subscribe, because the next story is already waiting for you. This is Grow Through Challenge. I'm Martina Bernhofer, and I will see you in the next one.